Do you know that feeling that you get when you're driving down the road and one of your favorite songs comes on the radio? Maybe it's a song you loved when you were a teenager, or maybe it's a song that you've sung 1,000 times, but when you hear that song, all those memories come back and it puts a smile on your face, right? This is one of my favorite songs. This is great. And you start singing along, and it's really just a nice moment. It's a nice moment of surprise. I think similar things happen with Scripture. I think we have scriptures that are like our favorite songs. We know them really well. We could repeat them if we had to. We've thought about them a little bit. This week, we get one of those favorite song verses. In fact, it's a section of verses from Philippians chapter 4. Philippians chapter 4, verses 10 through 13 is the section where the Apostle Paul talks about his ability to be content regardless of his circumstances. Paul has a secret to contentment. He has a secret to being content whether he's well-fed or hungry, whether he's got plenty or nothing. He says, I can be content no matter what. But again, it's because he's learned a secret. This Sunday, we want to talk about that secret. We want to talk about what Paul learned and what he then has passed on to the Philippian church and what God has, through his word, passed on to us. We can learn to be content. We can learn what true contentment looks like. We're going to get that secret this week. The sermon is called The Secret to Contentment. Last week in our Bible study at 10 o'clock, we finished 1 Samuel. I think that took us about 8 months or something. 1 Samuel was easy to teach, and it was fun to teach because it was a very linear story. It just went from one character to the next. It all fell into place. It was all very nice. It was quite useful. A lot of the material was very applicable to us. This week we are going to start a study of 2 Samuel. We're just going to carry on and keep the story going. However, 2 Samuel is a completely different thing. 2 Samuel is not neat and tidy. 2 Samuel doesn't follow one character for chapter after chapter. In fact, it introduces people left and right, and there's all kinds of things going on and people coming and going, and it's quite confusing, actually. In fact, I've labeled 2 Samuel chapters 1 through 4 as Things Get Messy. That's the title I gave it, because it is just sort of a messy sort of thing. So what we're going to try and do as we teach 2 Samuel is we're going to hit some of the high points. We're going to focus mostly on the story of David. We're going to focus on things that we can talk about and apply, and we're going to jump over some of the stuff that doesn't really fit with us. So having said that, this week what we're going to focus on is a poem that David writes, a poem that he writes for Saul and Jonathan when he hears that they are dead. The section is a lament of David, and it's found in chapter 1 of 2 Samuel, verses 19 through 27. That's what we're going to talk about this week, if you like to read ahead. And it is actually one of the most beautiful pieces of literature in the Bible. In this poem, we see David at his very best, and he provides a really good example for us in several different ways. David's lament, 2 Samuel chapter 1, verses 19 through 27, is what we will study in Bible study at 10 o'clock. A reminder again, we still have lunches going on. It was fun to see so many people stay last week and hang around for a long time. I don't think we got out of here until about 1:30 or almost 2 o'clock. So that was really fun. That's the advantage of staying for lunch, is that you actually get to catch up with people and visit with them, and it's really nice. So if you're able to, please plan to stay for lunch. Bring enough for your family and one other one, again, so we can invite people to stay if we have visitors. This would be a great week to invite visitors too, because the sermon is really practical. Everyone's looking for contentment and peace and joy and happiness. This week, that's what we're talking about, and we will share a secret that you can use. We'll see you then.